not a toy, for the rain it raineth every day, with a high ho, the wind and the rain, and the rain it raineth every day.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Wheel of Shakespeare Challenge, our final round for the month of October. I'm here with Elizabeth, John, Henry, Bill, and Maggie, who's just joined us. Just on time. It's good because based on the randomly determined order, Maggie was going to be the first to perform a randomly chosen monologue, and then I'm second. I'm on deck. So, Maggie, welcome back. Glad to have you here. Let's add the wheel, and we're going to spin the wheel to see what Maggie is going to perform for everybody today. Maggie is going to do Hear Me, Grave Fathers, Titus, and I believe this is the opening of the scene, Act 3, Scene 1.
Titus. Act 3, Scene 1. Roam a street. All right, I have it.
Okay, so whenever you're ready, go.
Hear me, grave fathers, noble tribunes, stay! For pity of mine age, whose youth was spent in dangerous wars, whilst you securely slept, for all my blood in Rome's great quarrel shed, for all the frosty nights that I have watched, and for these bitter tears which now you see filling the aged wrinkles in my cheeks, be pitiful to my condemned sons, whose souls are not corrupted as 'tis thought. For 22 sons I never wept, because they died in honor's lofty bed. For these tribunes, in the dust I write my heart's deep languor and my soul's sad tears. Let my tears stanch the earth's dry appetite. My son's sweet blood will make it shame and blush. O earth, I will befriend thee more with rain that shall distill from these two ancient urns than youthful April shall with all his showers. In summer's drought I'll drop upon thee still. In winter, with warm tears I'll melt the snow and keep eternal springtime on thy face, so thou refuse to drink my dear son's blood. O reverend tribunes, O gentle aged men, unbind my sons, reverse the doom of death, and let me say that never wept before. My tears are now prevailing orators. Thank you.
Okay, great. Love that one. And you did great with it. And while you were performing, Sheila joined us, so we're glad to have her with us. So we got a full group with us today. We got seven players, so we should get a good round going today. So that said, it is my turn, and then John is on deck. He will perform after I perform. What's it going to be? Claudius. Though yet of Hamlet, our dear brother's death, the memory be green, and that it us befitted to bear our hearts in grief, and our whole kingdom to be contracted in one brow of woe. Yet so far hath discretion fought with nature, that we with wisest sorrow think on him, together with remembrance of ourselves. Therefore, our sometime sister, now our queen, the imperial jointress to this warlike state, have we, as 'twere with a defeated joy, with an auspicious and a dropping eye, with mirth and funeral, and with dirge and marriage, in equal scale weighing delight and dole, taken to wife. Nor have we herein barred your better wisdoms, which have freely gone with this affair along, for all our thanks. Now follows that you know young Fortinbras, holding a weak supposal of our worth, or thinking by our late dear brother's death our state to be disjoint and out of frame, colleague with the dream of his advantage, he hath not failed to pester us with message, importing the surrender of those lands lost by his father, with all bonds of law to our most valiant brother. So much for him. This much as the business is, we have here writ to Norway, uncle of young Fortinbras, who, impotent and bedrid, scarcely hears of this his nephew's purpose, to suppress his further gait herein, and that he then levies the list and full proportions we all made out of this subject. And we here dispatch you, good Cornelius, and you, Voltimand, for bearers of this greeting to old Norway, giving to you no further personal power to business with the king, more than the scope of these delated articles allow. Farewell, and let your haste commend your duty. Okay. Right now it is John's turn. John, and then Bill will go after. So John is going to do. More strange than true. This is Theseus. Midsummer Night's Dream, Act 5, Scene 1 begins with more strange than true. So whenever you're ready.
Thank you. More strange than true, I never may believe these antique fables, nor these fairy toys. Loves and madmen have such seething brains, such shaping fantasies, that apprehend more than the cool reason ever comprehends. The lunatic, the lover, and the poet are of imagination all compact. One sees more devils than vast hell can hold, that is, the madman, the lover, all as frantic, sees Helen's beauty in a brow of Egypt. The poet's eye, in fine frenzy rolling, doth glance from heaven to earth, from earth to heaven, and as imagination bodies forth the forms of things unknown, the poet's pen turns them to shapes and gives them airy nothing, a local habitation and a name. Such tricks hath strong imagination, that if it would but apprehend some joy, it comprehends some bringer of that joy. Or in the night, imagining some fear, how easy is a bush supposed a bear.
Okay, thank you, John. So Bill is up now, and as we mentioned before we went live, he's having trouble with his camera, and so he's sideways. Oh, don't let that distract you. I don't want to exclude him from the game just because of that. So maybe you can turn your head to the side if you like, but we still like to see him perform. So
I don't know how to do it.
yeah. Well, we still like to see him perform, even though he is sideways because of the computer problems he's having, but we'll still let him. Okay, so singing for Bill. Bill is going to do, and then Henry is on deck. Henry is going to go after Bill does. Crossbow. Ooh, yes,
One, 4, 1.
I believe it starts with "You do look, my son," and then, but that's the I put the famous line in Crossbow. Okay, whenever you're ready.
I'm looking for it. Just so it starts with the words, "You do look, my son."
Yes, start with that.
Okay. You do look, my son, in a moved sort, as if you were dismayed. Be cheerful. Be cheerful, sir. Our revels now are ended. These are actors, as I foretold you. We're all spirits and are melted into air, into thin air. And like the baseless fabric of this vision, the cloud-capped towers, the gorgeous palaces, the solemn temples, the great globe itself. Yea, ye, all which it inherit, shall dissolve, and like this insubstantial pageant faded, leave not a rack behind. We are such stuff as dreams are made on, and our little sleep is rounded, and our little life is rounded with a little sleep. Sir, I am vexed. Bear with my weakness. My brain is troubled. Be not disturbed with my infirmity. If you be pleased, retire into my cell, and there repose. A turn or two I'll walk to still my beating mind. Scene.
Okay, great. So, Henry is up and Elizabeth is on deck. Henry is going to do the Countess of Versillion. What angel shall bless this unworthy husband? That's Act 3, Scene 4, approximately 29 lines in. So whenever you're ready.
What angel shall bless this unworthy husband? He cannot thrive, unless her prayers, whom heaven delights to hear and loves to grant, reprieve him from the wrath of greatest justice. Right, Rinaldo, to this unworthy husband of his wife, let every word weigh heavy of her worth, that he does weigh too light. My greatest grief, though little he do feel it, set down sharply. Dispatch the most convenient messenger. When haply he shall hear that she is gone, he will return. And hope I may that she, hearing so much, will speed her foot again, led hither by pure love. Which of them both is dearest to me? I have no skill in sense to make distinction, provide this messenger. My heart is heavy, and mine age is weak. Grief would have tears, and sorrow bids me speak.
Okay, very nice. So we have we still have Elizabeth and Sheila still need to go before we spin for scenes. It's Elizabeth's turn. Sheila is on deck. She'll go after Elizabeth does. Juliet, gallop apace, you fiery-footed steeds. Act 3, Scene 2. I believe this is the top of the scene. So whenever you're ready.
Oh, this is a first. I've never done this one. Okay. Gallop apace, you fiery-footed steeds, towards Phoebus' lodging. Such a wagoner as Phaeton would whip you to the west, and bring in cloudy night immediately. Spread thy close curtain, love-performing night, that runaways' eyes may wink, and Romeo leap to these arms, untalked of and unseen. Lovers can see to do their amorous rites by their own beauties, or if love be blind, best agrees with night. Come, civil night, thou sober-suited matron, all in black, and learn me how to lose a winning match, played for a pair of stainless maidenhoods. Hood my own mad blood, painting in my cheeks with thy black mantle, till strange love grow bold, think true love acted simple modesty. Come, night, come, Romeo, come, thou day in night, for thou wilt lie upon the wings of night, whiter than new snow on a raven's back. Come, gentle night, come, loving black-browed night, give me my Romeo, and when he shall die, take him and come out little stars, and he will make the face of heaven so fine that all the world will be in love with night and pay no worship to the garish sun. Oh, I have bought the mansion of a love, but not possessed it, and though I am sold, not yet enjoyed. So tedious is this day, as is the night before some festival to an impatient child, hath new robes and may not wear them. Oh, here comes my nurse, and she brings news, and every tongue that speaks but Romeo's name speaks heavenly eloquence.
Okay, great for having never done that one before. That's it. And it's also it's actually very. I was interested when you said you'd never done that before. I understand the nature of the game where we had the wheel is gender neutral. A man could end up getting it. I can understand a man being. I just assume this is something that every actress would.
Yeah, no, I've never. I mean,
That'd be a role
I've
that every woman would do. What that is a dream role.
I've taught it, but never actually taken a crack at it. So that was really fun. Thank you.
Yeah. So yeah, we're glad we got to see you do it. Okay, so Sheila will deliver our final monologue before we spin for some scenes for the six. It's 6 now because unfortunately Maggie had to leave us. So fortunately, we got to see her do a good monologue before she had to go. We got 6 of us left to do scenes after we do our final monologue. Letitia, the Queen Mab speech.
No, I've done this before. Would you mind if I spun again?
Sure, I'll spin again for you. Mark Antony, always, and again, this is from Antony and Cleopatra, not from Julius Caesar. This is upon the defeat. Act 4, Scene 12 begins with all is lost.
Got it.
Okay. So whenever you're ready, go ahead.
All is lost. This foul Egyptian hath betrayed me. My fleet hath yielded to the foe, and yonder they cast their caps up and carouse together like friends lost. Triple-turned whore, 'tis thou hast sold me to this novice, and my heart makes only wars on thee. Bid them all fly, for when I am revenged upon my charm, I have done all. Bid them fly. Begone! O sun, thy uprise shall I see no more. Fortune and Anthony part here. Even here do we shake hands. All come to this. The hearts that spanieled me at heels, to whom I gave their wishes, do Discandy melt their sweets on blossoming Caesar. And this pine is barked that o'ertopped them all. Oh, betrayed I am. Oh, this false soul of Egypt, this grave charm, whose I becked forth my wars and called them home, whose bosom was my crownet, my chief end, like a right gypsy, hath at fast and loose beguiled me to the very heart of loss. Oh, we are all yes! Scene.
Awesome. Okay, so good job today, everybody, with the monologues. Now let's find some scenes to randomly that we're going to choose from. We need to get scenes to provide roles for 6 of us. Okay, first one is Henry VI, part 3. Act 5, Scene 6. Okay, this is King Henry and Richard, Duke of Gloucester, going to be King Richard III. And so King and Gloucester. King Richard and I'm sorry, King Henry and Duke Richard, who will be King Richard. Othello. 1.1. There's 3 roles here: Rodrigo, Iago, and Barbancio. Two Gentlemen of Verona, Sylvia and Julia. 4.4. So that is actually 7 roles for this, because one of them was a 3-player scene. What I think we'll do is, since the idea of the one that's the smallest, I think Rodrigo might be the smallest, but I'm not sure. But the one that's the least desired of those 7, I will just assign, rather than have the 7th be an extra model. I just thought what I do is we'll do 3 scenes, and there's an extra role. So the one that is the least desired, I will just I'll just assign that to somebody who's who's already in another scene. So the 7 choices for the 6 of us are again the King Henry and Duke Richard, soon to be King Richard, in Henry VI, Part 3, Act 5, Scene 6. Rodrigo, Iago, and Barbancio in the first scene of Othello, and then Sylvia and Julia in Act 4, Scene 4 of Two Gentlemen of Verona. So you get to choose from in the reverse order from which we perform monologues. So Shelia gets the first choice amongst those roles. What would you like?
I would like Julia.
Okay, so Shelia is going to be Julia. Elizabeth, what would you like?
Richard III, naturally.
Okay. Elizabeth. Henry.
I'll do Henry.
Okay.
The 6th.
Henry and Elizabeth will do the first scene. Bill, what would you like?
Iago, please.
Bill will take Iago. John.
Othello.
John's going to take actually, no, it's Rodrigo and Barbancio. Othello's not in that.
Oh, that's the title. I'm sorry, that's the title. Barbancio.
Barbancio. Okay, I'll take Rodrigo. And then so the final scene we have Shelia as being Julia, and I'll just I'll either randomly pick or let the wheel decide to do Sylvia. But we're started the first scene. We got Henry and Elizabeth. They're being the.
Can I have a question, please?
Yes, John.
I didn't get the act and scene on the Othello, please.
Opening scene.
Opening scene.
Yes.
Got it.
Okay, let
And
me.
this is Act 5. We're at Act 5, Scene 6, right?
Act 5, Scene 6. Yeah, the one where Richard comes to kill Henry while he's in prison. Henry the Sixth. Richard. Okay, so whenever you guys are ready.
Ready, Henry?
Yeah.
Good day, my lord. What? At your book so hard?
Aye, my good lord. My lord, I should say rather. 'Tis sin to flatter. Good was little better. Good Gloucester and good Devil were alike, and both preposterous. Therefore, not good lord.
Sirrah, leave us to ourselves. We must confer.
So flies the reckless shepherd from the wolf. So first the harmless sheep doth yield his fleece, and next his throat unto the butcher's knife. What scene of death hath Roscius now to act?
Suspicion always haunts the guilty mind. The thief doth fear each bush an officer.
The bird that hath been limed in a bush with trembling wings misdoubteth every bush. And I, the hapless male to one sweet bird, have now the fatal object in my eye, where my poor young was limed, was caught, and killed.
Why, what a peevish fool was that of Crete that taught his son the office of a fowl. And yet for all his wings, the fool was drowned.
Daedalus, my poor boy Icarus, thy father Minos, that denied our course, the sun that seared the wings of my sweet boy, thy brother Edward, and thyself the sea, whose envious gulf did swallow up his life. Ah, kill me with thy weapon, not with words. My breast can better brook thy dagger's point than can my ears that tragic history. But wherefore dost thou come? Is't for my life?
Think'st thou I am an executioner?
A persecutor, I am sure thou art. If murdering innocents be executing, why, then thou art an executioner.
Thy son I killed for presumption.
Hast thou been killed when first thou didst presume thou hadst not lived to kill a son of mine? And thus I prophesy that many a thousand which now mistrusts no parcel of my fear, and many an old man's sigh, and many a widow's and many an orphan's water-standing eye, men for their sons, wives for their husbands, and orphans for their parents' timeless death, shall rue the hour that ever thou wast born. The owl shrieked at thy birth, an evil sign. The night crow cried, a boding luckless time. Dogs howled, and hideous tempest shook down trees. The raven rooked her in the chimney's top, and chattering pies in dismal discord sung. Thy mother felt more than a mother's pain, and yet brought forth less than a mother's hope. To wit, an undigested and deformed lump, not like the fruit of such a goodly tree. Teeth hast thou in thy head when thou wast worn, to signify thou camest to bite the world. And if the rest be true which I have heard, thou camest...
I'll hear no more. Die, pride in thy speech. For this amongst the rest was I ordained.
Aye, and for much more slaughter after this. God forgive my sins and pardon thee.
What? Will the aspiring blood of Lancaster sink into the ground? I thought it would have mounted. See how my sword weeps for the poor king's death. Oh, may such purple tears be always shed from those that wish the downfall of our house. If any spark of life be yet remaining, down, down to hell, and say I sent thee thither. I, that have neither pity, love, nor fear. Indeed, 'tis true that Henry told me of, for I have often heard my mother say, I came into the world with my legs forward. Had I not reason, think you, to make haste and seek their ruin that usurped our right? The midwife wondered, and the women cried, Oh, Jesus bless us, he is born with teeth. And so I was, which plainly signified that I should snarl and bite and play the dog. And since the heavens have shaped my body so, let hell make crooked my mind to answer it. I have no brother. I am like no brother. And this word, love, which graybeards call divine, be resident in men like one another, and not in me. I am myself alone. Clarence, beware, thou keep'st me from the light, but I will sort of itchy be for thee, for I will buzz abroad such prophecies that Edward shall be fearful of his life, and that to purge his fear, I'll be thy death. King Henry and the prince, his son, are gone. Clarence, thy turn is next, and then the rest, counting myself but bad till I be best. I'll throw thy body into the river of triumph, Henry, in thy day of doom.
That's awesome, you guys. So, next scene, we have myself, Bill, and John doing the opening bit of Othello. And before we do that, however, I just will mention, so because we had an extra role, we had the after this, we're gonna have the two gentlemen of Rona scene. Sheila is going to do Julia. Sylvia, I'll let the wheel decide who's going to perform a second time to play Sylvia next to Sheila as Julia. So we'll spin to see who's going to perform a second scene with Sheila. So that'll be me. But I'm going to perform. I'll be Sylvia with to Sheila as Julia after we do this scene. So let's see. It's myself and Bill, and then Barbancio, and looks like Bill figured out got his problem solved. So we get to see him right side up for this scene, fortunately. So
I'm holding my webcam in my hand.
Yeah, and John, I'm gonna keep you out of the stream now because Barbancio doesn't come into the scene till later. But you found the scene. You're ready. Go with
Yes.
it. Just checking before we started. Okay. So I start. This is Rodrigo and Iago on stage to start. So I'll start the scene. Never tell me, I take it much unkindly that thou, Iago, who hast had my purse as if the strings were thine, shouldst know of this.
Splod, but you will not hear me. If ever I did dream of such a matter, abhor me.
Thou toldst me thou didst hold him in thy hate.
Despise me if I do not. 3 great ones of the city in personal suit to make me his lieutenant, off cap to him. And by the faith of man, I know my price. I am worth no worse a place, but he, as loving his own pride and purposes, evades them with a bombast circumstance, horribly stuffed with epithets of war. And in conclusion, none suits my mediators, for certes, says he, I have already chose my officer. And what was he? Forsooth, a great arithmetician, Michael Cassio, a Florentine, a fellow almost damned in a fair wife that never set a squadron in the field, nor the division of the battle knows more than a spinster, unless the bookish theoric wherein the togaed counsels can propose as masterly as his. Mere prattle without practice is all his soldiership. But he, sir, had the election. And I, of whom his eyes have seen the proof at Rhodes, at Cyprus, and on other grounds, Christian and heathen, must be belied and calmed by debitor and creditor. This countercaster, he in good time must his lieutenant be. And I, God bless the mark, his worship's ancient.
My heaven, I rather would have been his hangman.
Why, there's no remedy. 'Tis a curse of service. Preferment goes by letter and affection, not by old gradation, where each second stood heir to the first. Now, sir, bejudge yourself whether I, in any just term, am affined to love the more.
I would not follow him then.
Oh, sir, content you. I follow him to serve my turn upon him. We cannot all be masters, nor all masters cannot be truly followed. You shall mark many a duteous and knee-crooking knave that, doting on his own obsequious bondage, wears out his time, much like his master's ass, for naught but provender. And when he's old, cashiered, whip me such honest knaves. Others there are who, trimmed in forms and visages of duty, keep their hearts attending on themselves and throwing but shows of service on their lords. Do well thrive by them, and when they have lined their coats, do themselves homage. These fellows have some soul, and such a one do I profess myself. For, sir, it is as sure as you are Rodrigo, were I the Moor. I would not be Iago. In following him, I follow but myself. Heaven is my judge, not I for love and duty, but seeming so for my particular end. For when my outward action doth demonstrate the native hue and figure of my heart and compliment extern, 'tis not long after that I will wear my heart upon my sleeve, for daws to peck at. I am not what I am.
Full fortune is the thick lip, so if he can carry it thus.
Call up her father, rouse him, make after him, poison his delight, proclaim him in the streets, incense her kinsman, and though he in a fertile climate dwell, plague him with fleas. Though that his joy be joy, yet throw such changes of vexation on as may lose some color.
Here is your father's house. I'll call aloud.
Do, with like timorous accent and dire yell, as when by night in negligence the fire is spied in populous cities.
What ho, Barbancio! Signor Barbancio, ho!
Awake! What ho! Robancio! Thieves! 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 Look to your house, your daughter, and your bags. Thieves! Thieves!
What is the reason of this terrible summons? What is the matter there?
Signor, is all your family within?
Are your doors locked?
Why, wherefore ask you this?
Soon, sir, you're robbed. For shame, put on your gown. Your heart is burst. You have lost half your soul. Even now, now, an old black ram is topping your white ewe. Arise, arise, awake, the snorting citizens with the bell, or else the devil will make a grandsire of you. Arise, I say.
What, have you lost your wits?
Most reverend Signor, do you know my voice?
Not I. What are you?
My name is Rodrigo.
The worser welcome. I have changed thee not to haunt about my doors. In honest plainness thou hast heard me say, my daughter is not for thee. And now, in madness, being full of supper and distempering draughts, upon malicious bravery dost thou come to start my quiet.
Sir.
But thou must needs be sure my spirit and my place have in them power to make this bitter to thee.
Patience, good sir.
What tell'st thou me of robbing? This is Venice. My house is not a grange.
Most grave Barbancio, in simple and pure soul, I come to you.
Soon, sir, you are one of those that will not serve God if the devil bid you, because we come to do you service and you think we are ruffians. You'll have your daughter covered with a Barbary horse. You'll have your nephews neigh at you. You'll have coursers for cousins and jennets for Germans.
What profane wretch art thou?
I am one, sir, that comes to tell you your daughter and the Moor are now making the beast with two backs.
Thou art a villain.
You are a senator.
This thou shalt answer. I know thee, Rodrigo.
Sir, I will answer anything, but I beseech you, be your pleasure and most wise consent, as partly I find it is, that your fair daughter, at this odd even and dull watch of the night, transported with no worse nor better guard, but with a knave of common hire, a gondolier to the gross clasps of a lascivious Moor, be known to you and your allowance. We then have done you bold and saucy wrongs. But if you know not this, my manners tell me, we have your wrong rebuke. Do not believe that. From the sense all civility, I thus would play the trifle with your reverence. Your daughter, if you have not given her leave, I say again, hath made gross revolt, tying her duty, beauty, wit, and fortunes in an extravagant and wheeling stranger of here and everywhere. Straight satisfy yourself. If she be in her chamber or your house, let loose on me the justice of the state for thus deluding you.
Strike on that tinder, ho! Give me a taper. Call up all my people. This accident is not unlike my dream. Belief of it oppresses me already. Light, I say, light.
Farewell, for I must leave you. It seems not meet nor wholesome to my place to be produced, as if I stay, I shall against the war. For I do know the state, however this may gall him with some check, cannot with safety cast him, for he's embarked with such loud reason to the Cyprus wars, which even now stand in act, that for their souls another of his fathom they have none to lead their business. In which regard, though I do hate him as I do hell pains, yet for necessity of present life, I must show out a flag and sign of love, which is indeed but sign. That you shall surely find him. Lead to the Sagittary, the razed search, and there will I be with him. So farewell.
Is that the end of it? It is true and evil. Gone she is. And what's to come of my despised time is not but bitterness. Now, Rodrigo, where didst thou see her? Oh, unhappy girl, with a Moor, say'st thou? Who would be a father? How didst thou know 'twas she? How she deceives me past thought. What said she to you? Get more tapers, raise all my kindred. Are they married, think you?
Truly, I think they are.
Oh, heaven, how got she out? Oh, treason of the blood! Fathers, from hence trust not thou your daughters' minds by what you see them act. Is there not charms by which the property of youth and maidhood may be abused? Have you not read, Rodrigo, of some such thing?
Yes, sir, I have indeed.
Call up my brother. Oh, would you had had her. Some way, some one way, some another. Do you know where we may apprehend her and the Moor?
I think I can discover him, if you please, to get good guard and go along with me.
Pray you, lead on. At every house I'll call. I may command at most, get weapons, ho, and race some special officers of night. Oh, good Rodrigo, I'll deserve your pains.
Okay. So I'm going to perform again with Shelia now, the Sylvia and Julia scene. And that will wrap up our show for.
May I indulge myself? It's a short scene and it starts with a solo monologue by Julia and ends with Julia on stage alone also.
Oh, yeah, that's fine. I got to, because I was performing the last scene, so I got to find my place here first, and then we'll. Is it the whole scene? Or?
No, oh my goodness. It starts about half to 2/3 of the way down. Proteus exits.
Okay, from Proteus. Let me find the scene, and then I'll take myself out so that you can start with a monologue. You'll start with the monologue and end with the monologue.
Thank you.
Okay, so it starts with how many women would do such a message? Okay.
Yes.
All right, so I'll take myself out and we can start with that.
Thank you. How many women would do such a message? Alas, poor Proteus, thou hast entertained a fox to be the shepherd of thy lambs. Alas, poor fool. Why do I pity him that with his very heart despiseth me? Because he loves her, he despiseth me. Because I love him, I must pity him. This ring I gave him when he parted for me to bind him, to remember my goodwill. Now am I unhappy messenger to plead for that which I would not obtain, to carry that which I would have refused, to praise his faith when I would have dispraised. I am my master's true confirmed love, but cannot be true servant to my master unless I prove false traitor to myself. Yet will I woo for him, but yet so coldly as heaven it knows I would not have him speed. Gentlewoman, good day. I pray you be my mean to bring me where to speak with Madam Sylvia.
What would you with her, if that I be she?
Oh, if you be she, I do entreat your patience to hear me speak the message I am sent on.
From whom?
From my master, Sir Proteus, madam.
Well, he sends you for a picture.
Aye, madam.
Ursula, bring my picture here. Well, give your master this. Tell him from me, one Julia, that his changing thoughts forget would better fit his chamber than his shadow.
Madam, please you peruse this letter. Pardon me, madam, I have unadvised delivered you a paper that I should not. This is the letter to your ladyship.
I pray thee let me look on that again.
It may not be, good madam, pardon me.
Then hold, I will not look upon your master's lines. I know they are stuffed with protestations and full of new-found oaths, which he will break as easily as I do tear his paper.
Madam, he sends your ladyship this ring.
More shame for him that he sends it me, for I have heard him say 1,000 times his Julia gave it him at his departure. If his false finger have profaned the ring, mine shall not do his Julia so much wrong.
She thanks you.
What sayest thou?
I thank you, madam, that you tender her. Poor gentlewoman, my master wrongs her much.
Dost thou know her?
Almost as well as I do know myself. To think upon her woes, I do protest that I have wept 100 several times.
Belike she thinks that Proteus hath forsook her.
I think she doth, and that's her cause of sorrow.
Is she not passing fair?
She hath been fairer, madam, than she is. When she did think my master loved her well, she, in my judgment, was as fair as you. But since she did neglect her looking glass, and threw her sun-expelling mask away, the air hath starved the roses in her cheeks and pinched the lily tincture of her face. But now she's become as black as I.
How tall was she?
About my stature, for at Pentecost, when all our pageants of delight were played, our youth got me to play the woman's part, and I was trimmed in Madame Julia's gown, which served me as fit by all men's judgments as if the garment had been made for me. Therefore, I know she is about my height. And at that time, I made her weep a good, for I did play a lamentable part. Madam, 'twas Ariadne passioning for Theseus' perjury and unjust flight, which I so lively acted with my tears that my poor mistress, moved therewithal, wept bitterly, and would I might be dead if I in thought felt not her very sorrow.
She is beholding to thee, gentle youth. Alas, poor lady, desolate and left. I weep myself to think upon thy words. Here, youth, there is my purse. I give thee this for thy sweet mistress' sake, because thou lovest her. Farewell.
And she shall thank you for it, for if ever you knew her, a virtuous woman, mild and beautiful. I hope my master's suit will be but cold, since she respects my mistress' love so much. Alas, how love can trifle with itself. Here is her picture. Let me see. I think if I had such attire, this face of mine were full as lovely as is this of hers. And yet the painter flattered her a little. Unless I flatter with myself too much. Her hair is auburn, mine is perfect yellow. If that be all the difference in his love, I'll get me such a colored periwig. Her eyes are gray as glass. So are mine. Aye, but her forehead's low, as mine as high. What should it be that he respects in her, but I can make respective in myself, if this fond love were not a blinded God? Oh, come, shadow, come and take this shadow up, for 'tis thy rival. Oh, thou senseless form, thou shalt be worshipped, kissed, loved, and adored. And were there sense in his idolatry, my substance should be statue in thy stead. I'll use thee kindly for thy mistress' sake, that used me so. Or else, by Jove, I vow I should have scratched out your unseeing eyes to make my master out of love with thee.
Hey, great. So thank you, Celia. Thank you, everybody, for the good performances today. I want to mention that before we went live, John had a new idea about, with the wild card thing, saying, what if we make it a thing that, like maybe not every round, but once a month, we have like an open mic thing where people can go off the wheel and do whatever they want, do something of their choosing, either, and I don't know, either instead of the spinning once a week, or maybe in addition to the spinning. That could be and then another thing I'm not sure is, should we say, if it's something that you choose, that we plan that you come prepared and you're off book with it, or do you want to have it be the same? The only difference is you got to choose it. So that's an idea, and it's just something to think about. I'll put John's suggestion. I'll put John's suggestion in an email to the whole group, so even the people that didn't join us today can have a vote on it. So just something to think about, and also feel free to make suggestions on that in the email thread, as well as always suggestions of new monologues or scenes that we can add to the wheel that aren't on it currently. So, but I enjoyed playing with you all guys. I look forward to the next round next week of the Wheel of Shakespeare Challenge. I'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.